So this leads to a very important theorem that differentiability implies continuity. That is, if a function is differentiable at a point, that is, if f has a derivative at x is equal to c, then f is continuous at x is equal to c. Now I will prove this theorem. Now given that f prime c exists, then we must show that limit x tends to c, fx is equal to fc. Or equivalently we can say that limit h tends to 0, f of c plus h is equal to fc. Okay, so let's take that h is not equal to 0, obviously, because if h is equal to 0 then fc is equal to fc. This is trivially true. So if h is not equal to 0, I can write f of c plus h is equal to fc plus f of c plus h minus f of c. The same thing what I have done, I have added fc and subtracted fc. Okay, so this fc will be here. Now I can do that this thing I have divided by h and multiplied h. So what I have written that f of c plus h is equal to f of c plus this thing multiplied by h. Okay, now take limit as h tends to 0. You take limit h tends to 0 LHS for here. So limit h tends to 0 fc, that will be fc. Now you see what will happen to this thing. This is limit h tending to 0, f of c plus h minus f of c by h. Now this whole thing is f prime c. Now it is given that the function is differentiable at c, so this f prime c will exist. So this will become f prime c into limit h tends to 0. Now limit h tends to 0, h will be 0. So f prime c into 0 will be 0. So this will become fc. So what I have proved that limit h tending to 0, f of c plus h is equal to fc. So if a function is differentiable at x is equal to c, it will be continuous at x is equal to c. But the converse is not true. That is, continuity does not imply differentiability. This is not true. But differentiability implies continuity. Okay. Now we had seen that the derivative of a function was defined as f prime x is equal to limit of this thing provided this limit exists. So this gives to the rise of concept of left hand derivative and right hand derivative. Why? Because whenever you talk of limit of something, you talk of right hand limit and you talk of left hand limit. So when we take right hand limit of this ratio, I will get right hand derivative, that is f prime x. For right hand we use this plus symbol, it will be limit h tends to 0 plus f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h. So this is right hand derivative. Similarly, left hand derivative will be f prime minus x will be limit h tends to 0 minus meaning that suppose your h, this is your 0, then h is tending to 0 from negative values. So this f of x plus h will be actually something that, okay, you are approaching this point x. Suppose this is my point x. For right hand derivative you are approaching x from this side, that is from values greater than x, because you are x plus h is positive. For left hand derivative you are approaching this x from this side, that is from values less than x. Why? Because your x plus h, where your h is negative, so your x plus h will be less than x. So this will be f prime x will be limit h tends to 0, f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h. Now a function has a derivative at a point if and only if left hand and right hand derivatives there and these one-sided derivatives are equal, that is these two derivatives are equal, then only the function will have derivative at that point. You see in this example which I showed previously also, y is equal to mod x, the right hand derivative is plus 1 but the left hand derivative is minus 1. So y prime is not defined at x is equal to 0 because right hand derivative is not equal to left hand derivative. Although I have defined left hand derivative like this, there is another equivalent definition of left hand derivative which I find more useful. I can define f prime x left hand also is limit h tending to 0, f of x minus h divided by minus fx divided by, you say x minus h, minus x will be minus h, where I am going h as positive values. So this is also one definition. This is also one way of writing the left hand derivative, that I concentrate only on positive value of h. Okay, and if I am concentrating on positive value of h, so I will take f of x minus h, that is value of function lower than x, smaller than x, and minus f of x, and this will be x minus h minus x, so this will become minus h. The advantage of using this formula, of left hand derivative is that in sometimes you don't have to worry whether your h is positive or negative. So for finding right hand derivative I use this, for finding left hand derivative I use this, and in both cases my h is a positive quantity. A function will be differentiable on an interval, open interval, if it is derivative, if it has a function is differentiable on an open interval finite or infinite if it has a derivative at each point of the interval. Similarly, if you have to find differentiable on a closed interval, now since this interval is a and b, I can only talk about right hand derivative at a. Why? Because from this side I can find the right hand limit. So it has to have right hand derivative at a, and at b it has to have left hand derivative. So in that case we will say that the function is differentiable on closed interval. We will see some rules for differentiation. If the derivative of function is its slope, then for a constant function the derivative must be 0. So if you have a constant function say c, then dc by dx is equal to 0. For example, if y is equal to 0, y prime is equal to 0. Next we will see this called power rule also, that d by dx of x to the power n will be equal to n x to the power n minus 1. That is, this n will come here and you decrease the power of x by 1. For example, if fx is equal to x to the power 4, your f prime x will be 4x cube. If y is equal to x to the power 8, it will become 8x to the power 7. Now I will derive this rule. Okay, how it happens? Very simple. The proof is I have to find d by dx x to the power n. So I can write using first principle for finding derivative. It will be x plus h whole to the power n minus x to the power n by h. Now using binomial theorem I will expand this thing. So this will be x to the power n plus nx n minus 1 h, all these terms, minus x to the power n. So this x to the power n and this will cancel out each other. So you will be left with n x to the power n minus 1 h plus all the higher powers of h. When you divide h and h in numerator and denominator, this will cancel, and the other terms will have some power like h or h square or h cube. So when you take limit h tending to 0, these things will go to, all these will go to 0, and ultimately you will be left with only this term. So d by dx x to the power n will be n x to the power n minus 1. So this is also called power rule, and this is the proof of this rule. Another is constant multiple rule, that if this c is constant, I can take it outside the differential coefficient sign. That is, d by dx cu will be c times du by dx. For example, I have to find d by dx 7x to the power 5. I will take 7 outside. X to the power 5 will be 5x to the power 4. This will be 35x to the power 4. Another is sum and difference rule. Suppose u and v are two different functions, then the differential coefficient of u plus v will be differential coefficient of u plus differential coefficient of v, du by dx plus dv by dx. Similarly for difference, d by dx u minus v will be du by dx minus dv by dx. An example, x to the power 4 plus 12x will be x to the power 4, differentiate, you will get 4x cube plus 12x, you will get 12. Similarly, this example, another is product rule, that d by dx uv is equal to u times dv by dx plus v times du by dx. Notice that this is not just the product of two derivatives. For example, if I have to find this thing, product of these two functions, their derivative, I can do using two methods. I can either multiply them together, I will get this term, find their derivative, or using this product rule, this is u into dv, dv will be 2x cube, so it will become 6x square plus 5, and this will become v will be 2x cube plus 5x, and du will be 2x, because x square plus 3 differentiation will be 2x, and this thing you multiply, you get this thing. So all these are very simple rules. Most of the book have these product rule and all these rules. Similarly, you have one quotient rule also, that d by dx u by v will be v times du by dx minus u times dv by dx divided by v square, or you can write it in this way also. Then there are higher order derivatives also, like if you have y prime is equal to dy by dx, it is the first derivative. If I differentiate this thing again, I will get second derivative. So y double prime will be dy prime by dx, that is d square y by dx square. Third derivative will be differential coefficient of the y double prime. So you can go on doing like this.